Here's your wrestling news for November 18th, 2021. And your headlines for today include, it's really sad. Becky Lynch doesn't hold back in scathing attack on Ric Flair. Kenny Omega set for extended hiatus after Full Gear loss. Beloved former WWE World Champion turns heel on AEW Dynamite. Former WWE writer says he never got paid by the company. Tribute to the Troops rating spells bad news for Monday Night Raw. Edge reveals just how much of a toll his matches take on him. Former WWF Women's Champion fighting liver disease. Jinder Mahal announces new project outside of WWE. Zelina Vega credits WWE Hall of Famer for advice after becoming queen. AEW wrestlers show massive support for woman fighting for her life, and more. We're kicking off today with Survivor Series as Becky Lynch will face Charlotte Flair this Sunday in a match that's more than personal. Things have been tense between the former best friends ever since Flair went off script during their title exchange, leading to a backstage altercation between the two. Charlotte isn't the only Flair on Lynch's radar, however, as she's previously had problems with Ric Flair over the trademark for the name The Man. Now the two are back at each other's throats as during Raw, the Nature Boy said he was going to make the trip personally to see his daughter win on Sunday. When Lynch stopped by the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, The Man didn't waste time addressing that tweet, saying, "I wrote out a response that would have been quite biting and I deleted it and I let it go because I think it's really sad. This is a legend at one point. This legend, a 16-time world champion Ric Flair, is now jealous of me. That's cool, it's cool for me. And he's now trying to use me to get clout." Harsh words by the Raw Women's Champion, which apparently could have been much harsher, which got a response by Rick, who tweeted that he was so disappointed in Lynch. Flair said that his comments, where he wants to see Charlotte, quote, beat the piss out of Lynch, were made out of respect, and said that he has made Lynch millions over the Man trademark. The two-time Hall of Famer concluded by saying neither WWE or Lynch own the title The Man, and said that he will always be the man and that Lynch should ask her husband. Rick may want to see Charlotte win in person this Sunday, but WWE remain hesitant to associate with the Nature Boy after Dark Side of the Ring, and whether he's there or not, Lynch's problems with the Flair family go far beyond just Charlotte. At AEW Full Gear, Kenny Omega's 346-day reign as world champion ended at the hands of Hangman Adam Page. Omega's reign, the longest of any male champion in company history, saw the Cleaner carry the company during unprecedented times, and the Cleaner has more than earned himself a break. PW Insider is reporting that Omega may be away for an extended period of time, but not through his own choice. Their report notes that Omega is set to be evaluated for medical issues this week and is expected to undergo shoulder surgery. The former AEW World Champion has reportedly been dealing with mounting injuries for quite some time, stemming all the way back to the start of AEW, which came after Omega's intense run in New Japan. Despite his injuries, Omega insisted on sticking with the Hangman storyline and see it come to completion. Even without the AEW World Championship, Omega remains the AAA Mega Champion, which he'll defend at Triple Mania Regia 2 next month, which hopefully will be the Cleaner's last big match before some much-deserved time off. Bryan Danielson had a much better time at Full Gear than Omega, as he became the new #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. Defeating Miro, this was the biggest win to date for the former WWE superstar, but the fans won't be cheering Bryan from now on. Interrupting Hangman Page's world title celebration last night, Danielson turned heel, referencing his WrestleMania 30 title win, and said he was ready to work the next day. Getting boos from the crowd for just mentioning WWE's biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bryan further turned heel, saying that the Virginia crowd were booing hard work. The segment ended with Danielson saying he wasn't going to face Page for the world title that night, which also got boos from the crowd, and there was a small brawl prior to Danielson taking on Evil Uno. Despite being one of wrestling's most beloved performers and coming back from a 2-year retirement, it didn't take long for AEW to turn him heel, and we'll have to see what this darker side to Bryan Danielson does next. Back to WWE, and from 2008 to 2012, actor Freddie Prinze Jr. worked with WWE, first working as a member of creative and later as a producer. The star of I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's no secret that Prinze remains a huge wrestling fan, which may explain why he didn't make any money from the company. On his own podcast, Wrestling with Freddie, Prinze Jr. explained how WWE refused to haggle when it came to the figure they were willing to pay him. He said, "It was $250,000 to write for them, and it wasn't a number that they were going to budge. And so I said, you can keep all that money and give me stock. I'll just take stock in the company and bet on myself, right? Because I was just dumb, and against my manager's advice, that's what I did and signed the contract." We don't know how much stock the actor received, but throughout his years employed, the average price of WWE stock was $12.58 a share. It's impossible to say whether Prinze still had his stock when the price surpassed $100 a few years back, but it goes to show that not everyone is interested in money when it comes to working with WWE. Back to the present, as last week, WWE hosted its Tribute to the Troops special in respect to the United States Armed Forces. These shows are richly deserved, but they're not exactly must-see TV, as WWE often books highly predictable encounters that almost always see the faces come out on top. However, this year's special is proven to be far more successful than its previous counterparts, as WrestleNomics reports that the special drew close to 2.03 million viewers, with a .51 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. This makes the show more successful than this week's Raw, which drew 1.585 million viewers and a .42 rating, the seventh lowest viewed Raw in the show's nearly 30-year history. The Troops special's success is especially impressive considering that it was taped at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California on October 15th, meaning fans have had a month to check the spoilers for the pre-taped event. This is good news for the 19th Tribute to the Troops, but worrying news for Raw, as the show must do something drastic after losing to a predictable hour-long event which fans knew the results of for a month. Edge wasn't at this year's Tribute to the Troops and hasn't competed since his Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel. As a part-timer, fans shouldn't expect to see Edge back in the ring anytime soon, but the Rated R superstar is using his time wisely. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Edge discussed his career both before and after his retirement and said the biggest thing he's learned is that his body takes much longer to heal. Before, when you can do it every night, that's not the case anymore. Now, after a match and I'm like, okay, I feel great, maybe I could do one more the next day, but that's pretty rare. It's usually a good 2 to 3 weeks until I'm like, okay. During this year's draft, Edge was chosen by Raw, but has yet to appear on the Red brand. But with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania getting ever closer, it'll be just a matter of time before Edge is back in the ring. We've got some worrying news from former WWF Women's Champion Bull Nakano, who has been struggling with health issues over the past year. In a translated report from Oricon News, it's revealed that Nakano has been dealing with alcoholic cirrhosis, a kind of liver disease, and was even hospitalized due to it last year. It's worth mentioning that drinking too much was very common on the road, especially when Nakano was in WWF, and the report thankfully adds that the former women's champion is clean and doing much better now. After leaving the WWF in 1995, Nakano would work for WCW before her retirement, at which point she became a highly successful professional golfer, and we're pleased to see she's doing much better in her fight against liver disease. When Jinder Mahal returned to WWE in 2016, few fans expected the meteoric rise to the top he experienced. After years of being a jobber, Mahal won the WWE Championship in 2017, and he now has another major role outside of the ring. This week, it was announced that Mahal will be in Season 2 of ABC's crime drama Big Sky as a character named Dhruv. Little is known about Mahal's character, but the former world champion certainly looks imposing in the photo that accompanied this announcement. On SmackDown, Mahal and Shanky are currently feuding with Hit Row, but the modern-day Maharaja will be kept busy both in and out of the ring. Zelina Vega knows a thing or two about making an impactful return after being released, as just over a year after being cut from WWE, she won the very first Queen's Crown tournament. Defeating Doudrop in the finals at Crown Jewel, the win has put Vega in the difficult position of having a royal gimmick, as she went straight to the modern-day Master of Monarchy for advice. On the Out of Character podcast, Vega said she spoke to Booker T for advice, saying the 2006 King of the Ring is her favorite king ever. Vega added that she wants to be the people's favorite queen of WWE ever, and not just remembered for being the first winner of the Queen's Crown tournament. Speaking about her iffy Regal accent, Vega said that she's being tagged by UK fans who have informed her that's not how the English accent sounds, but said that's the point and that her accent is deliberately bad. Vega is clearly having a lot of fun in her new role, which will hopefully lead to big things for the talented superstar. So the next time you see the Queen of WWE on screen, speaking in an accent that sounds more Australian than the Queen of England, you should know you have Booker T to thank. And we're ending today with AEW as their roster have gone the extra mile to support someone in a terrible situation. Recently, Canadian wrestler Kimberly Ford contacted the company and spoke about her friend Jessie, who is fighting for her life in the hospital after having 8 feet of bowels removed. Ford asked if anyone could help her friend smile, and AEW's roster quickly acted, sending a ton of support. Matt Hardy, Lance Archer, Evil Uno, Thunder Rosa, and even AEW's music guy Mikey Ruckus, alongside indie wrestlers who shared their support. In an update, Ford thanked everybody for their love and support, and we'd like to join the throngs of wrestlers by sending our best wishes to Jessie at this difficult time. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.